to pray, if you like, and I can arrange for you this, if you like.
To extend, screen extend.
Okay, do maybe mirror.
Yeah, how do I do?
Let me check.
Mirror to temple?
No, temple, yeah, temple you put. Wait, I do.
Okay, thanks.
I do and I show.
Namo Guru Pye, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Guru Pye, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Guru Pye, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Triratnaya, Locho Sampo Pelgyuta Shipa, Tu Chentem Petin Leonoda, Pegedro Lozam Peze Pachen, Palden La Mehesha Blaso Wade, Oma Guru, Vajradhara, Sumahati Muni, Shahasane Kama, Uttavadanye, Sri Bahadra Vasamahanya, Sawasidi Hum, I don't know, Oma Guru, Vajradhara, Sumahati Muni, Shahasane Kama, Uttavadanye, Sri Bahadra Vasamahanya, Sawasidi Hum, Pakyoke Kudan, Dagilu, Pakyoke Sudan, Dagi, it's too full. Pakyoke Tudam, Dagi, Danyamachi tu jingilo, Makyoke Kudan, Dagilu, Makyoke Sudan, Dagina, Makyoke Tudan, Dagi, Danyamachi tu jingilo, Muni, Muni, Mahamuni, Shakya Munye Soha, Om Muni, Muni, Mahamuni, Shakya Munye Soha, Om Muni, Muni, Mahamuni, Shakya Munye Soha, Om Maitreya, Maitreya, Maha Maitreya, Arya Maitreya Soha, Om Maitreya, Maitreya, Maha Maitreya, Arya Maitreya Soha, Om Maitreya, Maitreya, Maha Maitreya, Arya Maitreya Soha, Om Ahum Karuna Karuna Maha Karuna Arya Karunaye Soha, Om Ahum Karuna Karuna Maha Karuna Arya Karunaye Soha. Buon pomeriggio, ciao. C'è qualcuno che... Okay. Okay, so hello everybody. Actually, is Cozy here? Cozy? Cozy. Cozy, vieni qui, anche con il bambino. Okay, so actually this afternoon what we're going to do is, we're going to do like a presentation of this beautiful book that Cozy made about Gangchen Monastery, okay? So maybe Okay, so actually, maybe you explain a little bit, Cozy, then I'll start, yeah? Okay. So, actually, Lama Gangchen, okay, was a great healer, okay, traveled all over the world helping people. So basically what I'd like to call this presentation is that love lasts more than a lifetime, So it's like Rinpoche asked Cozy to make a series of books about his activities and his travels. This is the first one. This is already available since some time. So this one is about about Lama Gangchen's relationship with Gangchen. Here in Albagnano, it's called Gangchen Rinpoche, okay? Our original place is Gangchen Rinpoche in Tibet. So this book is about that, yeah? And how Lama Gangchen went back and rebuilt the monastery, okay? It's a very beautiful book, yeah? So, Cozy, do you want to say anything? Or if not, I shall continue, yeah? Yeah? Just say a few words, yeah? Then I will continue, yeah?
About this picture you see at the moment, this actually happened when Rinpoche made the first design in Borobudur in 1989. He was planning to rebuild his monastery slowly. So we were in Borobudur and he asked, I think, Dutra at the time to make a first design, which was, I think, this one. And there was also, so many times we saw a beautiful rainbow when he first showed this design. So that's what you see here. And in 1999, in January, is the first time that Rinpoche went to Tibet and laid the first stone for the rebuilding of the monastery. At the time it was a stone that was inscribed by His Holiness the Panchen Lama with good luck and auspiciousness for the rebuilding. So that was, in January, that just shortly after this was made.
Okay, so this book is actually about our history, actually, So, in Tibetan Buddhism, we believe in reincarnation. Reincarnation exists, actually, So, but we all reincarnate, but many of us, we reincarnate in a very unclear way. We can't remember, we just reincarnate by fear, by delusion. So it could be anything, anybody, Whereas some few people, they have the ability to be reborn in a conscious way, okay? Like our teacher, Lama Gangchen Rinpoche, he had this ability, yeah? Not just them, but from many lifetimes, okay? So, he, anyway, have many, many different lives, yeah? So to explain the Gangchen Monastery, I need to explain a little bit about history of Buddhism, yeah? There's many new people, yeah? So, okay, Lord Buddha Shakyamuni, yeah, okay, through his experience, he shared with the Dharma, yeah, which we call Buddhism, okay? So this developed in ancient India, and there was the Mahayana and the Vajrayana. Then around the 10th, 11th century, yeah, Buddhism collapsed in India, okay, for various reasons, yeah? And the various masters went north to Nepal, to Tibet, and to other countries, yeah? So then start the Tibetan Buddhism, yeah? So with the Tibetan Buddhism, we have 4 schools, Nyingmapa, Kagyupa, Sakyapa, and Gelugpa, okay? And actually, Lama Gangchen's been, in the past life, has been in many schools, okay? So the first school was called Nyingmapa, founded by somebody called Guru Padmasambhava, who brought the Buddhism to Tibet in the 8th century. Then around the 11th century was what was called the Sama, the new type of Buddhism, which was brought by Atisha and other masters, yeah? Okay. So then in the 14th century, what was called the Gelugpa tradition started, which was founded by Lama Tsongkhapa. You can see on the side of the screen, this is Lama Tsongkhapa, yeah? So this is the time when Buddhism was like very mature in Tibet, yeah? So the Gelugpa was the last school, yeah? So anyway, Lama Tsongkhapa was a great master, okay? So he wasn't recognized as like a Buddha or a Tulku or anything like that, but through his actions he was recognized as a great teacher, yeah? So then he gradually gathered people around him and he started to build the great monasteries of Ganden, Sera, Drepung, these kind of places, yeah, okay? So not his immediate disciple, the next generation, yeah, So the third generation was what we call the Dalai Lama, the first Dalai Lama, Gedun Drub, okay? So it's a bit like with Lama Gangchen, then there's like Lama Michel and me, and then the people after, like the third generation, okay? So in Tibet, the Dalai Lamas are very famous, yeah? Now is the 14th Dalai Lama. So the first Dalai Lama, Gedun Drub, yeah? Okay, he was a great master, yeah? A spiritual descendant of Lama Tsongkhapa. And he was the founder of what's called Tashi Lumpo Monastery in Tibet, okay? So he developed the world-famous Tashi Lumpo Monastery, and when it came for him, when he was getting old now, in the Gelugpa tradition, they have the kind of like succession of the monasteries based on election, okay, yeah, okay? So then they were like, who can be the next abbot, yeah? So then they were checking out everybody. So then they decide to ask the protectress of the Dalai Lama, Palden Lama Magzoma. She's a female protectress, very powerful one. And they asked her for help to choose the next successor, the head of the Tashi Lumpo, yeah? So then the Palden Lama, she chose one person that actually basically nobody knew. It was called Panchen Zampo Tashi, yeah? One monk in the monastery, yeah? Okay. So he became the abbot of Tashi Lumpo, yeah? And he was also the founder of Gangchen Monastery, okay? Our monastery, yeah? Okay. So Tashi Lumpo is in central Tibet, yeah? Okay, Tibet is divided into different regions. There's central Tibet, yeah? And to the west side of central Tibet, yeah? There's a place called Shigatse, okay? Yeah? So there's Tashi Lumpo Monastery, and that's the historic seat of the Panchen Lama. So in Tibet, there were two main lamas. One is the Dalai Lama, the other is the Panchen Lama, okay? At least within our Gelugpa tradition, yeah? So then, Panchen Zampo Tashi, yeah? He, in the desert, 50 kilometers to the west, yeah? He went out there traveling, yeah? Okay, and there were various auspicious signs, yeah? And they say that it was kind of like desert, you know, very dry, you know. And they say he stuck his walking stick into the ground and come out water, yeah? Okay, and it formed a little lake, yeah? Which nowadays is called the Vision Lake. And because there was water, yeah, then they could start to build something around it, okay, yeah? So this is the origin of the Gangchen, what later became the Gangchen Monastery, yeah? So Panchen Zampo Tashi, okay, this guy who stuck the walking stick in the ground and the water came out and then later developed the Gangchen Monastery, yeah? He's a previous life of our Lama Gangchen Rinpoche, okay? So actually Cozy's making a series of books, there's 4, I think, yeah, which is like cataloguing Lama Gangchen's travels around the world, yeah? I mean, they're beautiful, okay? But what we thought would be nice is that many years ago, Lama Gangchen asked me to write a biography, not just of himself now, but his other lives, yeah, okay? So we start to ask him, you know, about his other lives, you know, and he explained many, many things, yeah? And also, at that time, many of his relatives, you know, Tibetan relatives were alive, yeah, from his family, and also I went to interview them, so they told me many stories about Rinpoche's life. So we wrote them all down, yeah? And gradually, okay, we organized this biography of many, many past lives, yeah? And we thought it would be nice, you know, to kind of like explain why did Rinpoche go there, you know? I mean, it could have gone anywhere, yeah? Okay. Why did we always go to these kind of places? So then what we did was we linked together the stories of Rinpoche's past life, yeah? With, like, for example, Gangchen and all the other places he went to, you know, because there was a reason behind all this, you know, okay? So these books are super nice because one is they're beautiful, okay? They're beautiful books explaining like all the, you know, where Rinpoche went, where he did, thanks to Cozy's hard work and efforts, yeah? But also behind is explaining something very interesting, like, you know, about how love lasts more than a lifetime, basically, you know? So Lama Gangchen past life, Panchen Zampo Tashi, he found the Gangchen Monastery and he promised always to take care, you know? From life to life, okay? So then, you know, there was the fall of the previous civilization of Tibet, you know, and Rinpoche in 1962, he left Tibet, yeah, and then went to Sikkim and then to India, you know, But he never gave up his commitment to take care of the Gangchen Monastery and his people, yeah, there. So then, when was it, Cozy, that they start to rebuild the monastery?
He laid the first stone in January
99, yeah? Okay. So this book, yeah, it's kind of the story of how that came about, It's about, first it's explaining a little bit about Rinpoche's life, yeah? Let's start at the beginning. I'll try and, because it's hundreds of pages long, yeah, so let me summarize a little bit, yeah? And if you haven't got a copy, so beautiful, please get one, yeah? Okay, this is a picture of Panchen Rinpoche, yeah, okay? This is Rinpoche, past life, the second important abbot of Tashi Lumpo Monastery, yeah, okay? Sorry? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, maybe this one, yeah? Oh, this is where he stuck the stick in the water, yeah? Where the water came out, yeah? Okay. I think we should do this together, Cozy. Because the expert is Cozy, yeah? The one who, yeah? Yeah. This is supposed to be Panchen Rinpoche footprint, This, first you think it's not true, but actually I saw this, like one time in Tibet, no? They brought one of the candidates for the Panchen Lama incarnation, okay, to see us, like some children, yeah, okay? Okay, it's like nice children and all this. Then they brought this rock, yeah, okay? And inside this rock were like baby footprints, yeah? Because even though it sounds incredible, some of these high lamas have this ability to manipulate material matter, So I saw that with my own eyes in Tibet. So somebody's carved around to make more clear, but sure behind there's something true. I've seen this several times, these footprints, Anyway, this is what? Speak here.
It's a conch that is still preserved today at Gangchen Monastery. It's made of clay by Panchen Rinpoche himself. It's like a big like this. It's made by his own hand.
Yeah, nice, no? Anyway, he was
It's a statue of Panchen Rinpoche at Gangchen Monastery, and then the stupa at Tashi Lumpo.
He achieved the what we call the rainbow body, okay? That means actually, it's some kind of, okay, I know it sounds a bit mystical, but basically it's some kind of immortality, yeah, okay? So it means that when you die, you just change the body, like if our car breaks, we just get a new car, yeah, okay? So, okay, there's our Lama Gangchen, yeah? So, how to say? Actually, maybe I'll just tell you. I mean, it's a bit difficult to summarize the whole book, but okay. This is our Lama Gangchen, okay. And the book starts, like for example, this is Lama Gangchen Guru, the previous Trijang Rinpoche, yeah. Okay, so actually they've been together for many lifetimes, okay, not just now, yeah. Lifetime to lifetime, actually. Trijang Rinpoche was the charioteer of the Buddha, Channa, yeah. So he's one of the most high and powerful incarnations anywhere, but so definitely in Tibetan Buddhism, yeah, okay? So Lama Gangchen and him, since lifetimes they've been going together, actually, So in Rinpoche's past life, Trijang Rinpoche found him, and also in this life. It's amazing, truly, Okay? This is, okay. Okay, this is Rinpoche when he came out of Tibet, yeah, when he was young in the 60s, yeah, okay? Yeah? This, okay, let's see if I can do it, yeah? Okay, this here is Kyabje Song Rinpoche, great, important, fantastic Lama, yeah? So Lama Gangchen spent 7 years in India as his attendant, yeah? So Song Rinpoche was one of the most important Lamas bringing Gelugpa Buddhism to the West, yeah? So, for example, all the practices that now we like so much, like Vajrayogini, and also Dorje Shugden, he brought them, yeah? Before that, nobody had ever given these initiations in the West, So he kindly opened up the tradition and shared with us, yeah? So anyway, so that's Lama Gangchen and Kyabje Song Rinpoche in India, yeah? So at the time, Lama Gangchen was supposed to be going to Sanskrit school, but he never went, yeah? And instead he used to spend all his time going around with Song Rinpoche, yeah? And helping him instead and doing retreats, yeah? Okay, so he said it was really, really good opportunity because he said he had all the time to ask Song Rinpoche, for teachings in an informal way, So that's partly, Lama Gangchen by himself was great, but through the kindness of Song Rinpoche, he became greater, He really embodied the most important tantric side of the teachings of our tradition, Okay, what's this? Let's see. Hang on, glasses. Okay, this is, with Kyabje Pabonka Rinpoche in this past life, So I don't know if you, all these lamas now, they reincarnate. It's fascinating, It's like they promise, as long as space exists, as long as sentient beings, for this long I will return and help all sentient beings, It's true, yeah? Let's have a look. These are some of Lama Gangchen's gurus in India, yeah? Okay. Dayab Rinpoche. Anyway, his teachers, okay? Anyway, like I say, if you want to look all the details, you can buy the book yourself. This is here. This is in the Buxa refugee camp, So the Indian government very kindly, gave to the refugee Tibetans land to rebuild their monasteries and their settlements, Okay? But of course, first they gave them forests. So first they had to cut down the trees, and then the first monasteries, I don't know if you can see, they were in tents, yeah? Oops. Can you see here? That was a monastery, yeah? So they were living in tent encampments, yeah? So Lama Gangchen, he took his Geshe degree when he was, 20-something, yeah? In this tent monastery called Buxa refugee camp, yeah? Okay? And here, this is the Maitreya Buddha statue they offered during his Geshe graduation ceremony, yeah? So all these things behind his many stories. So Rinpoche, since many lives, he had a big connection with Buddha Maitreya, actually going back to the 12th century, yeah? When he was a very famous Lama called Trupu Lotsawa, yeah? So it's like music, it's like harmonics, and the same story comes up again and again through the centuries, yeah? Okay? So okay, at that time, when the Tibetan community, they were re-establishing themselves in South India, yeah? They obviously they have to support themselves, so they start farming, yeah? So then they had many problems with wild boars eating the crops, yeah? And elephants, yeah? So then each year they ask Lama Gangchen and other lamas to do these fire pujas, yeah? To send away the wild boar, because they're Buddhists, no? They cannot kill the animals, but they did these pujas, to send away the animals that were eating the crops. So every year he was doing this fire puja, yeah? And it was very, very successful. Then every place where Rinpoche did the puja, there was not coming any animals to eat the crops, yeah? Okay? So he gradually became very famous throughout South India as a healer, yeah? Okay? Also, can you see here? This is Open-Eye Chenrezig. Can you see? Yeah? So when Rinpoche left Tibet, yeah? He passed through Sikkim, yeah, on the way to India, yeah. So the Queen Mother of Sikkim, yeah, she had an eye problem. She was going blind, yeah. So Lama Gangchen, he helped to cure her eyes through the practice of Open-Eye Chenrezig, okay. So also become very famous from this, because obviously, the royal family of Sikkim was very happy with him, yeah. Yeah. Also, another thing actually is that in that time one of the jobs that the Tibetans were given was building the roads, through the Himalayas. So it's very dangerous because they were using dynamite, yeah, blasting, yeah, okay. So many of them were dying with the explosions, yeah. So Rinpoche also became very famous for doing what's called the poa, the transference of consciousness, yeah, because it's with this practice, in 1 second, if you need to die, you can go to, yeah, in a good way, So, so he taught all the road workers how to do this. So if they were killed in an avalanche, yeah, they could transfer their consciousness to a better incarnation, yeah. So then Rinpoche became famous, okay, because of the poa and the Open-Eye Chenrezig practice. And then he started to travel around, the Tibetan community, yeah. So this is in Sikkim, yeah, okay. Okay, and this is in South India, and this is picking up his first attendance. This is Sonamla. I don't know if you know him. He lives in Greece. Yeah, okay. And here is meeting Sonam and Pempa and Jampa, who were his attendants. Okay, yeah. Anyway, So anyway, so for many years, okay, Rinpoche was going around as a healer within the Tibetan community, okay? And then one day, yeah, actually Rinpoche first met Western people when he was studying at Varanasi Sanskrit University, okay? And at that time he said he was like super poor, you know, okay? But he was like really hungry, but in the student hall, he met the first Western people, yeah? So then he discovered that the Western people, it was the hippie era, they were going down to Goa, yeah? Okay, they were doing like rave party on the beaches of Goa, yeah? So Rinpoche went down there and he set up a tent, yeah? And with a green cross on the side, yeah? And it said Lama Healer, green cross, yeah? So then there were like these kind of parties, okay? And then at the end, the people used to go in the tent and Rinpoche would help them, you know, and heal them of their emotional problems, their physical problems, and so on. So in this way, he met his first Western disciples, some of which are still in our community here, actually. Yeah, so this is how it came about that Rinpoche met, first. So actually, one of the first people he met was Monica Benvenuti, also Ariella, and a few other people, yeah? Any other? Like to add anybody else? Monica Benvenuti, yeah, okay. Our Monica, yeah. And Claudio Bianchi, okay. They were Brazilian friends, but anyway, Claudio's Italian, Monica's Brazilian. They met Rinpoche there on the Arjuna beach in Goa, yeah, okay. So at that time they were spending time in India, yeah. So Claudio had one friend called Giussi Gardenghi in Bologna, and she was super sick, okay? She had cancer, yeah? And the doctor said, sorry, there's no chance you're going to die. So she said, okay, if I'm going to die, I prefer to die in the Ganges rather than being miserable in Italy, yeah? So she said, I'm going to India, yeah? So then she got to India, and she met Lama Gangchen, and actually he cured her of her illness. So obviously she was incredibly happy, yeah? And she invited Rinpoche to come to the West, you know? Okay, so this next section is when Rinpoche first started come to the West, yeah? Okay, at that time, Rinpoche had bought a little house in Kathmandu, yeah? Near the Pashupatinath temple, yeah? This house used to belong to one Greek businessman who was married to an ex-Kumari goddess. You know, in Nepal they have these living goddess, Kumaris, yeah? Okay, so his wife was retired ex-Kumari, okay? She's nice, actually, I met her, yeah? Okay? So they were living there, but then they decide they want to go back to Europe, yeah? So Rinpoche bought the house. But they said, anyway, you know, come and visit us, yeah? So then Rinpoche, this is when he first went to Greece, yeah? So when he first went to Greece, yeah? He asked Seton Gyurme to help him get a passport. So Seton Gyurme is a member of one family that Rinpoche had a connection with since few lifetimes, actually, yeah, okay? So Seton was born in, I think he was born in Kathmandu, yeah? Okay, and when he was young, he was not too much into Buddhism, yeah? But then Rinpoche gave him something like $1 or something and told him to start a business, yeah? So then he became super successful, actually became multimillionaire. So then obviously his faith increased greatly in Dharma, yeah? But at that time, okay, so he was developing his carpet business. And Rinpoche went to Seton Gyurme and he said, Seton, yeah? Get me a passport, yeah? And Seton said yes, and he said, but Rinpoche said, I want visas for all the countries in the world. And Seton said, I think, isn't that a bit too much? And Rinpoche said, no, because I'm going to travel everywhere, you know? But of course, anyway, didn't get him all the visas for all the world, just one by one, yeah? But Rinpoche, he said, I want to travel the whole world and help people, yeah? So this is when he first come to the West. So the first place he went to in the West was Athens, and then to Lesbos, you know? It's an island near Turkey, yeah, it's the most easterly of the Greek islands, yeah. So he went to Yorgos's place, yeah, in Lesbos, and the first thing he did is he made this Buddha garden, yeah, okay. Rinpoche had a very clear idea what he wanted to do from the beginning to the end, and so, you know. So let me see, I can't see, no. So what he did first, when he see here, this is like we have here in Albagnano. He had this world peace Buddha, yeah, and a Buddha garden and a Bodhi tree, yeah, okay. So this was his first center actually in the West, yeah. So at that time, when he was in Greece, he asked to bring all the incurable people to see him, yeah? He said, already in the West, there's many great lamas who can teach philosophy, who are excellent. There's no need for me for this, but what I want to do is show the power of the Dharma, yeah? Okay? So he said, on this condition, I'll come. So then, in Greece, he asked them to bring all the ones that the Western doctors had said there was no hope, yeah? So he healed many people who were considered incurable, okay, in Greece, yeah, okay? And then from there, he also started to come to Italy, to Bologna, okay? And also he started to go down to, you can see here, that's, where is it? Rome, no? Rome, yeah? Tuscany, and also to South Italy, yeah? These are like the early days in Italy, yeah? Okay. That's with, what is it? Geshe Jampigazzo of Pamaya, okay? Yeah. And also at that time there was a famous Hindu avatar called Babaji. He had an ashram here in South Italy, yeah? In Puglia, yeah? I've been there with Rinpoche, no? And they have like these like very traditional houses from Puglia called trulli. So they made many beautiful like domed stone houses. So they made many of these truly into an ashram of this Hindu avatar called Babaji, yeah? So Rinpoche used to go down there, you know. And there was one lady there who was like the sort of main person running the ashram called Francesca Facchiarulli, okay? A nice lady, yeah? Federica Facchiarulli, yeah? She was Milanese, yeah? Okay. So then, you know, she had a flat in Milano, and she said, "Why don't you come up? Actually, Carmen, why don't you come and tell this part of the story?" Yeah, Carmen, it's not all. This is before my time, so Carmen knows better than me this part of the story. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Milano story. Yeah. So that time, tell us something, yeah?
Okay, regarding that time, yeah. Va bene. And so actually at the beginning, Rinpoche in Italia, he was living in Gubbio, close to Assisi, close to Perugia. He went there because friends of this lady that Lama Caroline was mentioning, Giussi Cardenghi, they had a villa there, and so Rinpoche was their guest in Gubbio. So one floor was for Rinpoche, the upper floor, and the lower floor, these people were living. And then at that time, Rinpoche had a few people around, not like later in the West.
Very few.
Very few, yeah. See. So what happened that we used to go and visit, me and Duccio, for example, we used to go and visit Rinpoche in Gubbio. And then anyway, at a certain point, the situation became, because Rinpoche started traveling to the east, and so did people that were giving hospitality. You know, they didn't exactly like all this way of living, going away for a long time and coming back and so on. And so somehow the situation was no more sustainable. And so Rinpoche moved to Milano. In Milano, there was some Jindala, some sponsor giving him this flat in Corso di Porta Vercellina, in the more or less the center of Milano. And then Fakiruli, the lady from the ashram in Puglia, she was the owner of this house in Milano. And so we had, it was at the 8th floor, Rinpoche had a small apartment at the 8th floor, and this lady Fakiruli on the same floor had another small apartment. Anyway, also there, we were doing everything in one room. You know, it was not like now. Now we are used to a very comfortable Dharma life, let's say, with big spaces and big gompa and restaurant and bar and guest house, and everybody has got their own house and all this comfort and beautiful thrones for lamas. At that time, everything was Rinpoche room. Everything was happening there. So in the same room, Rinpoche was sleeping in one corner, and then was a monolocale, come si chiama?
Like a studio.
Like a studio, see, just one room, and then a very small kitchen and toilet. So Rinpoche was sleeping in this room, and then we were eating on the room, no table. We just put some plastic cover, kind of table cover, on the floor. Long one, because already Rinpoche started to have few guests every day. So there was this long table on the floor, on the carpets there was this plastic tablecloth, and then Rinpoche was sleeping there, receiving patients. He was already receiving patients, and we are doing puja there. At that time, Rinpoche was only teaching the 7 limitless meditation, the four limitless meditation, the traditional one from the Buddha, and the Muni Muni mantra. And then he was only teaching this to patients and to all of us. And we were doing kind of retreat, just sitting there in his room and reciting maybe 10 mantras or 15 mantras, something like this. This was
how long did it take you?
Our capacity, long, very long, Muni, very long, because we were unable, to recite. And and then Rinpoche was receiving patients, and we were doing the puja. And then there was another small apartment on the same floor where we were living. We means, I don't know, 10 people, maybe. Yeah. Many people. There was Duccio, myself, Claudio Cipullo, and then Champa and Daniela, and then slowly they went to another apartment. Anyway, no, I don't remember now, many people coming and going and sleeping there. Rinpoche was already very welcoming. Mm-hmm. So whoever was passing by was invited to eat, and if needed to sleep, and everything like this, like hippie style. Everybody sleeping in the same room, on the floor, and like this. So this was an incredible experience of joy and of happiness. Everything was possible. In each second, we can do anything. And then slowly things start to develop, and then we moved to Via Marco Polo, because this house was very small. And then people were coming, more and more people, and the house was very small, this 8th floor there, no gompa, and then slowly we moved to Via Marco Polo.
Frank offered, no?
Yes, Frank offered the place in Via Marco Polo, because they found this place in Via Marco Polo 13.
Frank already built it, no? The top part was all damaged, yeah?
Was all damaged. It was repaired a few times, this house. The Gompa was repaired a few times. So also there in Via Marco Polo, there was living, many people in the same.
Me too.
Also Lama Caroline. Also Rinpoche started to invite monks. So in Via Marco Polo, many monks were coming from the monastery and sleeping in the Gompa, with one toilet, and everybody sleeping on the floor in the Gompa. At the beginning also we are sleeping in the Gompa. There was also Francesco, and anyway, now we are used to very comfortable life. That's why Rinpoche, that's my experience, the opinion, slowly looked for a place like this, He understood the need of having space for people, of having comfortable places for practicing, and that for us Westerners, okay, at that time we were very young, just a few friends, was a different situation. But the Rinpoche idea was to make things bigger in order to receive people, to have many people, not only a few, and to have spaces and comfort for a good practice, So, like that. That's why we're here.
Go away. You were there. I'm sure you were there at this, no?
Che cos'è?
This is an interreligious meeting in Assisi with the Pope, yeah?
Yes, I was not there personally. But I remember that Rinpoche was invited because this Pope was Giovanni Paolo II. Giovanni Paolo II. Yes, he was doing the first interreligious meetings in Italia, let's say, at least in Italy and the other countries, I don't know. Rinpoche was invited there. Because, Lama Gangchen Rinpoche was very, very, very much, he liked very, very much the interreligious stuff. Anything that was interreligious, he really liked to give energy. He was really thinking that this could be an answer to the world problem, you know, could be a solution, could at least could give a contribution. So he was very much encouraging the interreligious exchange. This.
That little house there is what San Francisco actually built, yeah? That was his chapel, he only built one, yeah?
Oh, see.
And then now they built this huge cathedral around, and
Yes.
they say that if you go in there, they believe all your sins are cancelled, yeah? The Catholics, yeah? We went there many times with the Rinpoche, no?
Yes.
We liked a lot San Francisco.
The Rinpoche likes a lot San Francesco, d'Assisi, and also Santa Chiara. And he had a special feeling, let's say, with this holy being that San Francesco is, and Santa Chiara at the same time. And Rinpoche was studying the history a few times regarding his meeting a special lady in the chapel in Assisi. That he was going there by chance, and there was a lady sitting in a closed church, and Rinpoche had the feeling that she was Santa Chiara.
She was sitting on the tomb, no, wasn't she? On top of the tomb, yeah?
Yeah, something like this. Yes, I was not there at that time, but something like this.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, this is in the, I can't see, let me see. This is in the Babaji ashram in South Italy, yeah?
Sì, a Cisternino.
Yeah? Okay, so this is like the early days in Italy, yeah? Okay.
Sì.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, then it goes on to Rinpoche's first trip in Tibet, yeah? This is before Cozy and me turn up, yeah? So I bet you know about this one, probably.
Yes, I didn't go in the 1987, did not go to Tibet. It was a small group going there.
Well, there's
Claudio and Franco and Claudia Proscian and Lorenza. This is Geshe Shivanchuk.
Yeah, and the Panchen Lama there in the
Panchen Lama.
Jokang, yeah. So this is the first time Rinpoche went back to Tibet since he left in 1962, yeah? Okay. And he always talked about how he met the Panchen Lama and how he was well received, and, you know, and all this stuff, no, didn't he? So, okay, so our Rinpoche, since many lives, has had a connection with the Panchen Lama, okay? The Tashi Lumpo Monastery, yeah? Remember, Lama Gangchen, past life, he was the second abbot. After him come what's called the Panchen Lamas, yeah? Now we say the Panchen Lama. So all the abbots after Panchen Zampo Tashi are what's called the Panchen Lamas, yeah? Up to the present one, the 11th Panchen Lama, yeah? So the Panchen Lama is the head of Tashi Lumpo Monastery, and Gangchen Monastery, our monastery, is a branch of that, okay? Yeah? Yeah, so it's kind of like there's a super strong connection with the Rinpoche and the Panchen Lama since lifetimes, okay? So this is him meeting the previous Panchen Lama. Now there's the 11th one, okay? Maybe don't go away just yet, Carmen. Maybe. Yeah? So Rinpoche always told so many stories, yeah? Like he said, this time now, when he met the Panchen Lama, the Panchen Lama asked him, yeah? He said, can you speak Italian? He said, no. He said, why not? He said, I always use a translator, yeah? But then the Panchen Lama was a bit like telling him he had to learn Italian, yeah? Okay? You know? But Rinpoche always liked to use a translator. Like at that time was Claudio, no? Claudio Cipulo, no? And Carmen and Francesco, actually, were his translators, no? Okay. Let's have a look. What's here? Okay, this is in Gyantse Kumbum, yeah, okay? All this behind is so many stories, but it's even too much to tell all the stories, okay? Like I say, maybe... Oh, this is the trip, now when you were all there. Look, there's Claudio, Rinpoche, Panchen Lama, Franco, yeah? Then who do we have? Claudia Proscian and some other friends, yeah? This is Sonam, yeah? And Jampa, yeah? Bello, no? Yeah. Lorenza's, where's Lorenza? Somewhere. There. That's Lorenza, yeah? Yeah? Okay, so this is what Gangchen used to look like in the early before it was a huge monastery, okay, 500 monks, but because of, you know, the Cultural Revolution, which was throughout the whole of China and Tibet, it was completely destroyed, yeah? So all that was left was like a little hut, basically. It was raised down to the ground, yeah, okay? But Rinpoche, since lifetimes, he had this commitment to care for his people, you know, in Gangchen, yeah? Gangchen means snow mountain, Himalaya, yeah? It's like an oasis in the middle of a desert, yeah? Actually a very good place for meditating because there's nothing to do. Albagnano looks like New York in comparison, yeah? Yeah? So anyway, so he always say, I will always take care of the people there, you know, so okay, so then Rinpoche, Lama Gangchen, no, he's gone into exile, you know, okay? But then he come back and then he decided he would help to rebuild the monastery again. Why? Because he feels like some kind of bodhisattva commitment to take care of the people there, you know. They lost everything. He said, no problem, we start again, yeah? So, okay, so actually this cozy, this is what's happening here. It says, oh, okay, so the Panchen Lama, the 10th Panchen Lama, came to Gangchen, yeah, the little hut, and gave his blessings for the project, yeah, okay? These very famous photos that Rinpoche liked very much, yeah? Okay, so this is, I don't know if you can see, thousands and thousands of people came to see Rinpoche because Rinpoche was super famous and important in Tibet, yeah? So maybe this Cozy can tell better than me, so in the first trips, where's Cozy gone? Cozy? Yeah? Okay, Cozy? So in the first trips to Tibet come like 10,000 people. No, Mayor, you were there, no? To come and tell us about this, yeah? Yeah? This is a joint effort, this talk, yeah? Because we all have part of the story, actually, you know? Yeah? Yeah? Like I say, many, many, many things. You have to, like I say, it's beautiful, but you have to get the book if you want to see everything, yeah? Too many beautiful things, yeah? Yeah? There's a really beautiful picture, actually, of these 10,000 people. Maybe can you explain about the thousands and thousands of people coming? Yeah?
As Lama Caroline mentioned, in 1987 was the first time Rinpoche returned to Tibet. He then went back again in 91, and there was already quite a big international group. And he returned again in 94. Every time he brought things for his monastery in Tibet. And in 94 also we brought two big Maitreya statues. And one was given to Serame, one was given to Tropo Monastery. And he brought a big mandala and many things. Anyway, in 94, I think, or was it 91? Was that 91 or 94, the big line?
This is, I think it's 91.
Maybe it was in 91 because that time, I think it was in 91. I went all around the hill, the old monasteries, just some ruins. There was just a tiny like quarters where some of the old monks were still living. And people had gathered from all over, and they were lining up to get Rinpoche's blessing all day long. Rinpoche was giving blessing. He actually asked me at the time to count. I was there with the man counting the people. It was over 10,000 people.
Amazing, huh?
And I was giving blessing all day long. Where they got the message from, we don't know, because there was no telephone or anything. But they had left their sheep and everything at home, and they just came for blessing. And Rinpoche also, after he said, the people were surprised that there was nothing happened to the animals, even though they kind of left them abandoned. They came back late. And that was a very long line. People were so happy to see Rinpoche come back. It was very, very touching. Yeah, then Rinpoche returned in 94 and then 97.
You know, because that's very interesting about the line, because these people were there lining for maybe 20 hours, many hours, just to receive Rinpoche touch on the head. And today, how many we have lamas available, sitting, teaching, and this was the old Tibet. Rinpoche, of course, was a great lama. That's why he had such a long line. Of course, not all the lamas have such a long line, this for sure. Anyway, at the same time, this is I think it's like this. You know, we are very lucky because we have lama and teaching very easy. In the old Tibet was not like this. Justo. That's all.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing also, you know, when Rinpoche came to Italy, you know. For us, he was so, available, you know, and, we're having pizza every day, and, you know, just like, we didn't really know. We just thought it was amazing, but we didn't really know much about him, no? And also for us, when we went to Tibet and see all this, it was quite something, no? To see how amazingly famous and popular he was in his own country, no? But Rinpoche never it was never like proud or anything, just like helping people, kind, healing the other. We didn't know much at all. We were just there in Marco Polo, weren't we?
Enjoying pizza.
Yeah, pizza.
We didn't know that he was such a great Lama.
Yeah.
That
We just thought he was an amazing person and want to spend our time with him, no?
yes, that's
Yeah.
nice.
So this is some more like from. Okay, this is what Cozy was talking about, the Maitreya statue project, yeah. Okay, so behind this is another. All this are so many beautiful stories that you know. So, okay, Rinpoche. There's actually we count there's like I don't know 16, 17 different past life of Lama Gangchen. Okay. Many, many, many. So in the 12th century, he was a famous Lama called Trupu Lotsawa, Kagyupa master, okay, yeah. And he was also one of these Lamas bringing the last of the great Indian masters from India to Tibet, okay, yeah, in the last wave of the Indian time, you know. So he brought 3 famous teachers to Tibet, yeah. And also he was famous because he made 3 huge Maitreya statues. Huge means like huge, you know, like as big as this temple, yeah, all 3 floors, huge ones, yeah, maybe 30 meters high or something, yeah. So Rinpoche, and his name was Jampa Pel, which means glorious Maitreya, yeah. So Rinpoche, since lifetimes, he's had this connection with Maitreya, the future love Buddha, okay. So these Buddhas, they were destroyed, yeah, during the Cultural Revolution, like everywhere in China, not just Tibet, by the way. Whole of China, everything was destroyed of the past, yeah. So Rinpoche, one thing he said it was important to do was put back the Maitreya statues. So not only did he want to put back the 3 that were made by him in the past, but also in all the other monasteries where they'd been destroyed. So we actually maybe Koshi's going to ask, maybe you remember this. Like we had this project, no, in like 94, no? Yeah, so we did a fundraising with Italian friends, no? Yeah.
I don't remember which year it was.
Yeah, I think 94, yeah? 93, 94, yeah? Yeah. Yeah, and it was called Great Love Project, yeah? Okay, wasn't it, yeah? And so we had like, was it 11 of these, not big like before in Tibet, but they were big, like maybe 4 or 5 meters high, yeah? He had them cast in India, thanks to the generosity of some Milanese friends who paid for them, you know? And then what he did is he wanted to transport them back to India, Nepal and Tibet and put back in the major places where before there were big Maitreya statues, because he said it would help the world situation to be more kind, yeah, okay? So, I remember one time, yeah, we were going to Tibet, yeah? And at that time we had like 100 Spanish friends coming, okay? And we were going from India to Lhasa, okay? And all the Spanish friends, they all lost their luggage, yeah? So then instead that we could put one of these massively heavy statues on the plane, yeah, okay? And then the next day all the Spanish people's luggage turn up, so we got the Maitreya Buddha got a free ticket to Tibet on the plane, yeah? There was many things like that, yeah? You know, it was nice now. I remember we were, Cozy, me and Carmen, we were there, no, at that time, you're going around putting back the Maitreya Buddha statues in Sera, Drepung, Ganden, Tashi Lumpo, in this Trupu Gompa, yeah, in Ganshan, you know. So this here is this is talking about this, yeah. So you might think, why does he suddenly decide to, you know, because of it? It's like kind of like these reincarnate lamas, you know, who have some kind of clear mind. It's like something from the past, I mean, not obviously, not everything, but something of their past personality continues, you know. So for Rinpoche, this thing of Maitreya was super important, you know. He had certain themes that you always continue from life to life, you know. So this is the Maitreya project, yeah, okay. Many, many places around. That was beautiful, actually, yeah. This here is this is a statue of a teacher that was painted by one German painter, very good one, called Andy Weber, yeah. Okay, friend of mine, actually, I know him, yeah. And he painted this big picture of a teacher, and at that time Lama Gangchen was going to England, so he saw this painting and he wanted to buy it, yeah, okay. Then he thought it would be a great idea to take it to where was it? To the Potala, yeah? Yeah? In the Potala Palace in Lhasa, yeah? So we had to ship this to Lhasa, and then this also got lost, yeah? And then we had to search around, and then finally it reappeared again, the Atishas there. And this also now is living in the Potala Palace, the palace of the Dalai Lamas, no, in Lhasa, yeah, okay? Rinpoche did many, many incredible things, you know. Like I say, Cozy, how many books? You have like 4 or 5 of these books, no? Yeah? 4. So far 4, but I think by the end there will be 5. I think you're not finished yet, because Cozy, she's the one who actually was the most lucky of all of us, because she spent all her life, her adult life, traveling around with Rinpoche, you know. That's why, unfortunately, Rinpoche always asked her to take photo, you know, and record, so that's why now we have all these books, yeah. And so she put all the traveling details, and then I just put a few of the stories, you know, okay? So this here, actually, this is in outside Lhasa, yeah? There's this temple, yeah? Where is it? Okay, I've been there. Shedrupling, okay? So there's many, many amazing things in Tibetan Buddhism that are true, yeah? For example, there's something called the gyulu, the illusory body, okay? The rainbow body, yeah? Okay? And even now it happens, yeah? So what it means that some practitioners, when they die, their body dissolves into a rainbow and it shrinks, yeah? Okay? And sometimes it shrinks completely and just is left the teeth and the fingernails and the hair. Or this here is like the remains of one girl, one female disciple of Atisha, yeah? And when she passed away, her body didn't completely shrink, but it shrank. It's only this big, you know, okay? Because it's like the elements absorb into a rainbow, and it's incredible, but true. These things happen, you know, okay? So this is like, okay, so the Tibetans, they kept this as a holy relic, this girl's body, yeah, okay? So Rinpoche always used to get that out and bless us with it, yeah, when we used to go to Tibet, yeah, okay? This is Geshe Yeshe Wangchuk, who was one of Lama Gangchen's teachers, yeah? Actually, now he's reborn and, you know, next life, going on well with his studies and so on, you know? Yeah? What do you mean full screen? You mean bigger? You mean not double, you mean not double page, yeah? Okay, 1 second. Hang on 1 second, okay. Full screen mode. Like that, you mean? Okay. Okay, me personally, I like more the other one because you see what the book's actually like and the pages fit together, yeah? Okay, this here is the journey. We were supposed to be going to Tibet now, but this is the journey on the way to Lhasa with these beautiful carved Buddhas on the way to Lhasa, yeah? Okay? And this is some of our trips, actually with some of our friends, Rinpoche visiting the Ganden Monastery, the main monastery of Lama Tsongkhapa in Tibet, yeah? Okay. This is this is various important things that happen there, you know. This is where Rinpoche was helping to build a stupa for the 10th Panchen Lama, okay, in Tashi Lumpo Monastery, yeah. So this is a stone that was laid in his name, yeah, okay. This is Marco Columbro, who's as you know better than me, is a famous Italian comedian, also our friend, yeah, an Italian TV personality, yeah, okay. Columbro, yeah, okay. So he was very kind, yeah, okay, because like, for example, now fortunately we have these beautiful films of Rinpoche, you know, doing self-healing, making peace of the environment, thanks to Rinpoche and thanks to Marco, yeah, because you know Marco was working in like theatre and TV, you know, in Rai TV. So kindly, Marco rent the Rai TV studio of Milano, and we film those things, no? Which is, I always think, thank you so much, you know, because it's so important now that we have, like, Rinpoche said, whoever sees that will receive blessings and healing, and it's true, you know, so many times I think, thank you, Marco, for doing that, you know, because really it's so important, yeah? So Marco understood the importance of media in that time, yeah? Was one of the first, yeah? Okay. Okay, then we've got some friends there. Marina getting married, yeah, to Jordan, our friends there. Many of our friends got married in Tibet, yeah. Oh, this is a Maitreya Buddha that's being taken to Tropu Monastery. Now, this before was a huge monastery. Now, at the moment, it's a kind of small monastery, but maybe being rebuilt, yeah. So this goes back to Rinpoche's past life in the 12th century, yeah. So we do self-healing, right? Okay, yeah. So Rinpoche, in 1990, yeah, he'd been, actually Cozy, come back and tell the story. You were there, you were in Borobudur with Rinpoche, not me. So Rinpoche had been 3 times to Borobudur, and then they come back, yeah, and Cozy had one piece of paper, which I have got a copy, yeah, with 5 Buddhas on it, with Om Amoga Siddhi Hum, Om Aratna Sambhava Hum, with some pictures, yeah, like little bit like this. And Rinpoche said, we are going to make a book, yeah, so maybe tell something, please, Cozy. You were there on that trip, yeah, come on. This is a group experience. And then I'll tell you my bit about Triple Lot's Hour afterwards, but first Cozy needs to tell this bit, yeah?
Just about, in addition to Marco Columbro, he came with us to Tibet in '94, and he produced one of the 5 videos that he made in relation to
5-star, no?
5 show,
Yeah.
and it was called Land of the Golden Roofs. So that was came out of that trip. And yes, the first little self-healing page was, I don't remember which year it was.
1990.
Was it 1990?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that time just Rinpoche made a summary, a very brief summary of the qualities of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas, let's say the wisdom aspects of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas and what they purify and the different aspects that we know that are related to them, their colors and delusions, etc. And that was all. And from that later came what Rinpoche developed as self-healing. Quite fast afterwards, he went to Velletri and to the snow mountain in January near Torino, Sole Luna. And there he basically started to make the first experiments with the melodies and developing the practice. And then later he went to the place near Rome called Spring of Dharma. And there again he developed it further, and then came the books, almost self-healing too.
Which
same year later on.
We worked, no? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't sleep for like 6 weeks, yeah? We were young, no?
Yeah.
No, it was something really amazing. So, look, Rinpoche made self-healing. He went to Borobudur and he got this inspiration. But, okay, so he started doing self-healing and all that, yeah? As you know, okay, now we have all this beautiful self-healing. But at the same time, they come from Tibet, one book, yeah? Which is called the Magic Book of Trupu Lotsawa. Okay, here we are in Trupu Monastery, yeah, okay? This is in the 12th century, Rinpoche was there, okay? Was this very famous, he translate many things from Sanskrit into Tibetan, he bring 3 famous Indian gurus to Tibet, and he built 3 huge Maitreya statues, yeah? And he made this special book of healing practices, yeah, okay? Now, okay, so this book, Rinpoche received at the time he started to write self-healing, yeah, and okay. And I found like a copy of the index, okay? Because at that time I couldn't read Tibetan. But that was like, Rinpoche, have you seen this, yeah? Because everything Rinpoche was telling me to write down, you know, because I got the job of writing it down, because I'm English, right, yeah? But anyway, and I was saying, look, this is the same, you know, like all what you're telling me here is like from, and I said, have you ever seen this before? He said, no, I've never seen this book before, yeah? So it's like, in this self-healing book at the beginning, it says, you know, it says, this is a mind terma, you know, a mind treasure that I'm bringing out from my past life, yeah? And Trupu Lotsawa, in his biography, he says, all my teachings are not for now, for the 12th century, they're for the future generations, yeah? Yeah. So it was something really incredible, you know, okay? And true, you know? So Rinpoche said, no, I've never seen this before, but I said, anyway, you're writing down basically the same thing was written down in the 12th century, yeah? Yeah? Amazing, you know, like, so all the things of self-healing, all these, like, special things that anybody apparently ever heard of was actually in this other book from 800 years ago, you know? Actually, I have a copy now, I like it very much, actually, beautiful, yeah? In Tibetan one, it's written by hand, you know, okay? Beautiful, yeah? Anyway, so, see, this looks like, okay, he's standing in a shed, okay, holding a Buddha, but behind is so many incredible things, yeah? You know, so this series of books that Cozy's doing, this is what's really, apart from the fact it's beautiful, so interesting, beautiful photos, we like Rinpoche, also it's a little bit explaining all these things, like, why did Rinpoche go to this place called Trupu in the middle of nowhere? Because it's like harmonics, okay, 100 years ago he was there, and then you need to go back and help those people, you know, okay? It's fascinating, really, you know? Yeah? So that's the Buddha of Trupu Gompa, yeah, okay? Very, very, very important, yeah? Okay. Oh, this is the vision lake of Gangchen, yeah, okay. Bello, yeah. So Rinpoche used to say this was his TV, you know, because they say that in this lake, if you, like, you know, there's the famous Lamo Latso lake of Palden Lamo in Tibet, yeah, where they always look to find the incarnation of the Dalai Lama, okay. So we also had our own TV lake, Rinpoche used to call it, in Gangchen, yeah. So it's like you have to do puja and look there, and then the Lama who has a clear mind, they get some vision, you know, okay. So, you know, remember, this was just before computers and iPhone and smartphone, and he said that this Rinpoche used to say this was his TV and then his iPad, you know. Actually, before Rinpoche passed away here in 2018, 2019, Rinpoche was looking for a TV lake around here, yeah, okay? And apparently he found one that he liked up above here, no, yeah, you know. You know, so also here we have some potential. If we do puja, we can develop this kind of vision lake here in Italy, yeah? Because everything is, you know. Rinpoche used to call it like Lama Marco Polo Western Buddhism, yeah? Yeah, so it looks like really it's coming true, no? Okay. This, cozy, this is in Gangchen, no? Yeah, you see the Tibetans, they have these huge tankers that they get out for these important festivals. Beautiful, no? That they unfurl once a year. They have these huge tanker walls, yeah? Okay. That's our trip, no? Okay, and this is the reconstruction of the Gangchen Monastery. There's Lama Michel when he was young, yeah? Okay. So they're carrying the first stones, yeah? To rebuild the Gangchen Monastery, yeah? Okay. At first it was like, I don't know, first I remember when we first go, that was just like a hut, you know, with like a wall around, you know, the Gangchen Monastery, no? 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 Very, very small, yeah, okay. But then, Cozy, maybe you can tell more of this story of the rebuilding, yeah? Sorry, we can't hear. Because, like I said, the expert on all this is Cozy, not me. That's why she wrote the book, not me. Okay.
Actually, Rinpoche had sent, after his first visit, he had sent some funds to repair like just a small like improvised gompa with a few monks, old monks stayed there. And then the first thing he did, which actually those pictures show, is that he built a dispensary because he felt that people needed help. They needed help for their physical ailments, for sicknesses and medicines. So the first thing he constructed actually was a dispensary and sent some doctors there and people to help those in the villages who needed help.
Okay, don't go away. And then, yeah. Actually, we were all there carrying those stones as well. I remember they were quite heavy, actually. But and then, yeah. Okay, this is the dispensary finished with a doctor. And then, okay, we know what happens next, yeah?
Yeah, that is the dispensary. That is the first stone to Gangchen, which I mentioned earlier. That was in January 1990. Rinpoche laid the first stone for rebuilding his monastery, and that was also the time when this place here was located and identified as the like a brother Gangchen Rinpoche. That's why it has like a sister Gangchen Rinpoche, which is like the name that we also have for this place here. Is actually at the same time the initial finding of this place and the first laying of the stones of the Gangchen monasteries in Tibet took place.
That's very auspicious, no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is this one here. This is one of the candidates for the Panchen Lama. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then it's talking about the. I don't think you should leave, Cozy. It's talking about the reconstruction of Gangchen Monastery. Like me, I was not involved in all this because I was busy writing down all kinds of incredible, marvelous meditations and sadhanas, and this was more like Cozy, ISTA department, this kind of stuff. Yeah. So please come back and tell us all about it because me, I don't know anything.
Well, Rinpoche was there in January 1990, and then actually, yes, it was quite complicated to send funds there and make things move, but it actually went really, really fast. And the local people were extremely enthusiastic about building and helping, and everybody was helping and carrying things and doing things. So by the end of the same year, or actually the first 3 floors were already completed. And in 2000, actually, basically the monastery was already existing. And that's like some pictures of the construction, preparing the wood, carrying the stones, etc. And
It's all like the
yeah.
local villagers building it, no?
Yeah, and Rinpoche basically was conducting by telephone. He was like on non-stop, like telling what to do and checking out, and that was, that was when Rinpoche returned, and he blessed some of the statues that went into the monastery, and can't see right from here, but anyway, there's the workers and the local people helping to build. But that was already like less than 1 year after the monastery was already standing.
They make with like mud, don't they? Mud with straw inside, yeah? They compact it, no?
And bricks, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, this is the first like blessing, no, of the re-inauguration of the monastery, isn't it?
Yeah, there were still some of the very old
Like
monks
these ones, I see, yeah.
that knew Rinpoche from before he left Tibet, and they were like, they couldn't believe it that this was happening still within their lifetime. They were incredibly, incredibly happy. And yeah, Rinpoche came back and he brought whatever he could possibly bring. He brought from he brought the tankas and implements and whatever we could carry from Nepal we were bringing. And then we had the first ceremony.
Yeah, I mean, basically they carried off everything from Kumpen Lama Gangchen, no? Everything, including Cozy's clothes, actually, by mistake, yeah? They took everything they could. But for a good cause, you know? Okay, so what have we got here? This is the first...
That's the dispensary.
Oh, okay, this is the hospital. Because Rinpoche always didn't just build a monastery, he took care of the welfare of all the people around, you know, like medical...
These are the monk homes.
Yes, okay.
After the Bekompa was built, then the monk quarters were built. Actually, originally, the building was made for to guest 100 monks.
But there's more, no?
No, there's less now. But in the past, Gangchen Monastery had about 600 monks.
Yeah, it was
And
divided
two
into 4
departments.
colleges, no? 4, isn't it? Like, based on Teshilumpo, no?
I don't know, whatever, anyway.
Yeah.
And then there was the water project. This was already
The water was
inauguration.
done by, actually, I've just been in Chile. The water was done by Chilean engineers, because Chile is super dry with like the Andes, no? Sorry, the water, okay, Tibet is super, super dry, yeah? Like in South America in the Andes, okay, like desert, yeah? So they got, we have many, many friends around the world. So some of our Chilean friends who are very good at water management, they put all this irrigation system, yeah, in Gangchen, and now it's like, then 30,000 trees, no?
Yeah, the water is collected from a source about 4 or 5 kilometers up the mountain, and then channeled down to the monastery. So they have running water, which is very unusual in this area, which helps the monastery to have water, shower, toilets, and everything, and also the retreat center, and also irrigation. And beginning, we had actually gardens with vegetables and everything, but then that was, I don't know, the monks kind of abandoned it. But there's a lot of trees that were planted, and that helps the general, like the environment, for having more rain, and keeps it better. That was the inauguration. With all the dances and horse rides and horse races and balloons and whatever.
That looks dangerous, standing on a pole.
No, it was actually fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, okay, one thing we forgot, I mean, there's so much to talk about, yeah? So Rinpoche made the Help in Action, no? Like in the late 90s, no? No? Maybe you say something about that, yeah? Because like this, okay, all this water channels and all this was done together with the Help in Action, wasn't it, yeah? Okay. Anyway, you know, since decades, okay, Rinpoche had this very nice, like, humanitarian project, which first was in Tibet and then Nepal and India, yeah? Okay, first was like helping in Kathmandu around our center, and then rebuilding Gangchen, but then helping many, many, many other people till today. It's a very beautiful project, you know, that still continues, you know? Like yesterday, no? We had the Milano Conservatory, beautiful, yeah? And they were doing fundraising for the Help in Action, yeah? You know, so there's many charities in the world, but I can tell you honestly, this complete, if you put 10 euros goes to the poor. There's no going anywhere else. I know, you know, we know how it works. It's completely sure your money will reach who needs it, you know. So if you want to help, welcome, okay? Yeah, anyway, that's one beautiful thing. There's so many things. It's like never finished. This is the water, okay, this is the water irrigation system that the Chileans made, yeah, okay? And then, okay, we've got watering the trees, making lots of trees, yeah? Okay, these Buddhas were brought from Borobudur, yeah, from Indonesia. Beautiful, yeah, okay. But they paint like Tibetan style with the gold paint, yeah?
Just a small anecdote to the arrival of these Buddhas from Indonesia. They are the same statues that you see around here. Rinpoche had commissioned several of these sets of 5 Dhyani Buddhas to complement the self-healing practice he was teaching. And one set was ordered for Tibet at the time, was sent actually more or less at the same time they were sent. But it was a bit complicated, but it so happened they got stuck somewhere after reaching the port in Shanghai, and then they ended up in some magazine. It was kind of complicated. It took months to get them out and sent on. It so happened they arrived in Lhasa exactly the same day as Rinpoche arrived in Lhasa the following year, and then went actually together with Rinpoche to his monastery and arrived at the same time in Gangchen. This is a kind of a coincidence which happened many times, like it looks like nothing, but actually it's very meaningful. So the Buddhas were waiting for Rinpoche to take them.
Your other book now called Opening Many Doors, yeah? Because it's true with Rinpoche, all doors was open, you know, like incredible. Like I suppose we were a bit spoiled because we thought it was just kind of normal, you know, can go anywhere, see anything, go and sit in the Panchen Lama, a palace, and do whatever you like, basically, because we were with Rinpoche. But later on we discovered it wasn't like that at all. Because we really didn't realize, you know, because we knew Rinpoche was like really, really special, okay, but we thought, you know, oh, of course, you know, you can see it, go and sit. Like I went to one conference in America, yeah, and there's one very nice lady who's studying one monastery in Tibet, okay, very famous one, where she's studying all the murals. And I went there with Rinpoche and I said, oh, have you seen all the secret yogi cells where they, and she's like, no. And she'd been there for like a year, you know, they never showed her this stuff, and she was a bit upset, you know. Yeah, but do you see what I mean? For us, it was just like they just open everything, show everything, all the most important stuff, because of Rinpoche, not because of us, obviously, you know. So that's why Cozy's books are called Opening Many Doors, because really every door, east and west, was open because of Rinpoche. No? Yeah, nice picture of Lama Michel and Lama Gangchen in Tibet, yeah, okay. These are the Yamantaka hats. That's meant to be the horns of Yamantaka, yeah. It's a hat of the Tashi Lumpo Monastery, yeah, okay. Yeah, because, like I say, they're both lamas of Tashi Lumpo, okay? And then, what else do we have? As many, I mean, you have to please get the book, and, you know, this is just flicking through, you know? Sorry? I can't hear. Tell me here.
Is like the main day of Gangchen Monastery.
Oh, okay. Turning of the wheel of the Dhamma, yeah?
Sampotashi's birthday and Parinirvana Day and the main celebration day. So Rinpoche brought back the tanka.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
the
main celebration day at Gangchen Monastery is like Panchen Sampotashi's Parinirvana Day, which is, what is it,
Chökodurchen, the turning of the wheel of the Dhamma, when the Buddhists, yeah?
And traditionally they host the main tanka of the monastery at that time. So that tanka was no more there. So Rinpoche had remade the tanka and brought it back to Gangchen, made a new wall, and the tanka is raised, and now it's continuing to be raised on that day every year for the ceremony.
Yeah, re-established all the rituals and all the Buddhist events, no? That had been interrupted because of the Cultural Revolution, yeah, okay. So now it's all going again, yeah, okay. This is doing fire pujas, okay. This is a beautiful picture of Rinpoche in the 10th Panchen Lama, yeah, okay. Can you please turn off your phone or whatever you're doing? Yeah. Okay, this is the 11th Panchen Lama, okay, yeah. Okay, now he's quite big actually, now he's an adult, yeah. So Rinpoche was one of the first lamas to, you know, from the West to I don't know how to say, to recognize him somehow, you know. Yeah, so they have a very special connection, you know, of course, because it goes back lifetimes, you know. It's not just now, yeah, okay. Okay, this is welcoming the new Panchen Lama, the 11th Panchen Lama to Tashi Lumpo, all those ceremonies, yeah, okay. Big ceremony. Cozy was there. That's why it's her book. She knows everything. You were there. Tell us about it, yeah? A little bit.
It was a very, very big ceremony.
Sorry, I can't hear. Tell us here.
It was a very, very big ceremony. I think it was in 2002. I think it was the Panchen Lama's birthday celebration also somehow together. It was a very big welcome with like all the traditional ceremonial that you can possibly imagine. It was
many beautiful photos in here, Cozy.
Yeah. And at that time, Rinpoche also somehow managed to have, all the Panchen Lamas have come to Gangchen Monastery. So also the young 11th Panchen Lama came to Gangchen Monastery and blessed the monastery.
Beautiful, no?
Mm.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's all that trip that Coach is talking about, yeah? Okay. Okay, then what else? There's so many things, no? Okay. Actually, this was left over from the 15th century. This was the outdoor teaching throne of Panchen Zanpoteshi, no? Yeah?
Well, I think also Gendundrup.
And the Dalai Lama, first Dalai Lama, Gendundrup, yeah? Okay. Yeah? Anyway, so the Rinpoche, that's before the monastery was rebuilt, yeah? Okay. Okay. What else can I tell you? Anyway, but it's real. Honestly, it's real. If you're interested in Albagnano and Lama Gangchen, please get a copy of this. You know, we make a lot of effort to Cozy, especially. You know, to put this together, to print it. You know, please. Also, it's supporting the centre. Then you understand a little bit more, because many people now they come here and it's okay, it's nice, beautiful. Of course, you see Lama Michel on YouTube, which is wonderful. But then maybe it's nice you see behind something, you know, like the history of Albagnano, because Albagnano didn't just pop out of nowhere in Piemonte, yeah, okay? Actually, Albagnano pop up out here because Lama Gangchen, many years ago, he had like a dream, yeah, okay? That would be a place with 5 mountains and a lake behind and all this, yeah? So he was always looking for this place with the 5 mountains and the lake, yeah? So he looked many places, and then finally, yeah, he come here and he said, that's it, no? So that's why he then got the possibilities to buy the ecotourismo that had gone bankrupt, yeah, which is now our centre, yeah? And then he started to develop here, you know? So behind it's not just like that, yeah, okay? Behind was, you know, Rinpoche vision, his practice, and, you know, he wanted to make a new Ganden Chirpel Ling, you know, a new place of where the Himalaya Dharma will spread. That's what it means, Ganden Chirpel Ling, yeah? So I was looking for years and years and years around Europe for this place, and then he came here and said, that's it, yeah? Do you want to add anything, you two? Remember anything? Yeah?
No.
Yeah?
Yes. I just like to say that was not only Rinpoche's vision and dreams to get to Albagnano, was a very hard work. Incredibly hard work. Rinpoche was working like day and night, as we used to remember sometimes. For him, there was no difference between the day and the night. It was all one. You know, when we speak about the yoga means union. In my fantasy, in my understanding, what Rinpoche was living was really living like a yogi in union. Everything was one. No difference between work and enjoyment, between puja and normal life, between day and night. Everything was one. So he was working very hard to get here, to have this place. This was just the final result of 40 years hard work in the West, trying to understand what we like, what we need here in the West, how to adjust the Buddha's teaching, how to adjust the practice. He was working like this, day and night, like an obsession. You know, I used to complain sometimes, oh, now you too much. Relax, never relaxing, always working, full of people, helping people, never relaxing. It was relaxing, actually. For us, for me, what I see is just hard work. But inside, Rinpoche was so peaceful that I understood he was relaxed inside. Was me stressed. So anyway, niente.
Like this here was like a place for horses, no? Completely freezing cement with stalactites, with water dripping in through the ceiling, no? You know, because before it was like a farm, yeah, okay. Then I'm sure, I mean, it never said what he was going to do to us, did he? Yeah?
We started with fire puja.
Yeah, in the middle, he did fire puja then, yeah. And then, I mean, it's amazing, you know, if you read Self-Healing 1, actually, somehow the whole blueprint of what he was going to do was in there, you know? If you read carefully, you can understand, like, everything that came out afterwards, you know? But like I say, he said he was a method Lama. He never, like, used to say, now we're going to do this, that, and the other. He just, like, did it, yeah, okay? And we had the good fortune to be together, you know? And maybe understood, maybe didn't understand, probably. But anyway, we were lucky to be there, you know? and see all this unfold, you know. So I think, honestly, I think if I was a new person coming here, you know, I would get this book because I would be interested to know what's behind, you know, okay, the history, yeah. Okay, and actually Cozy's book, I hope, please also Cozy, please try and put, she make another 3, no? Yeah, this is just volume 1 about so many beautiful travels, east, west, up, down, everywhere, developing the Dharma, doing wonderful things. I've seen them, beautiful. Please publish this as well, because then also new people, they can understand, you know, something in what is behind Albagnano, you know. Yeah. Otherwise, maybe it's incomprehensible, sorry to say, if they don't know what happened, you know. Because you can't imagine, honestly, that anybody could. Rinpoche said, yeah, I've lived, like, was it like 5 lifetimes in one, yeah? It looks like, you know. Like every year he used to travel like 3 times to the moon and back on the planes, you know. He was continuously traveling all around the world, going everywhere, helping all over, doing all kinds of incredible projects. Looks like impossible, but possible. So Cozy has made these beautiful books, like, because Rinpoche has to photograph, you know, record what happened. So fortunately, we have this amazing record. So now this first book is available in the shop, okay? I'm saying for anybody who's listening on the streaming, yeah? You can order. Please do, because I think all our centres need this book, so important. And then please, Cozy, I'm requesting you, please publish. Also, please help Cozy to publish these books, yeah, friends, yeah? Because by herself it's difficult to finish, but please support Cozy to print these and get them out, yeah? They're all for the benefit of our Nelso tradition, yeah? And me, I want to have these 5 books in my house, yeah? I want to read, I know I do, so please help her. It's so beautiful, yeah, okay? Like here, I didn't, the other day I didn't see Fernanda's presentation, I will see it, but one thing Rinpoche always asked us to do was make a presentation of the infinite amount of rainbows that always appeared, yeah, okay? And if you know that Fernanda put a few together, okay? So this was like our normal everywhere we went, yeah? Not because of us, but because of Rinpoche. Whatever we did, there was a rainbow going like this, or a triangle, or a square, or something. Every time impossible, but possible one. Incredible, no? Yeah? But we just thought, Rinpoche used to complain at us, saying, oh, for you, this is true. We used to think this was kind of normal, you know? We didn't know, you know, but we were lucky, yeah? Okay? So, anyway, okay, this is a brief, you know, view of, but please get it. It's so interesting, you know? Yeah? And like I say, maybe next year, Cozy, you present the next one, yeah? Volume 2, yeah? No, really, I've seen that, so beautiful. And also, you know, many times we would be here in Italy and Rinpoche would disappear. In Cozy's books, you can see what he was doing. Like, so there's Rinpoche on a camel up the Silk Road, Rinpoche in a boat up the Amazon. It's amazing, you know. You see, what did Rinpoche do when he wasn't in Milano or Albagnano, yeah? So, anyway, so please buy, okay? Please support it. So anyway, also, by the way, thank you very much, Cozy, you know, because it's really beautiful what you're doing, yeah? You know? No, we appreciate a lot your job, you know. Also, now you're like one of the main biographers of Rinpoche, you know? So thank you. Also, there's many, anyway. So let's support Cozy to bring out these 5 volumes, okay? So anyway, I don't know. Are there any questions? If not, then maybe that's enough for now. Or anybody, Robert, any senior disciples like to say something? Is that Rosanna? No? Rosanna, Roberta, any of the senior want to say anything? You're welcome if you like to say something. Yeah? Who? Antonia is saying that also here, you know, she can confirm how an incredible effort made to build up all this, you know. I mean, of course, we're super, super happy that now the centre is full, and, you know, because now it's like 5-6-star hotel, no? Yeah? Like this is the result of principally Lama Gangchen effort and blessing, you know, okay, of course. Lama Michel and many other people support him, but basically this is Lama Gangchen energy and wish that produced this for us, you know. you know. But it's good to remember what come before, you know, okay? Because people don't know, they just think, oh, nice, you know. But it's true anyway. So we talk about this more another time, you know. So let's just feel gratitude, you know. Yeah. Even this, you know, like this is like looks very much like a Tibetan gompa, you know. So Rinpoche wanted, like, it's the first one in the West actually, you know, like really like Tibetan murals, you know, at least of the Gelugpa tradition, okay. So he did so many amazing things. So we're very lucky, so thank you very much, everybody. So, Nimo dele sendele, Nime koyan dele shin, Nin sentatu dele pel, Kuncho sungi jingilo, Kuncho sungi nudruso, Kuncho sungi ta shisho. All'alba, al tramonto, di notte durante il giorno, possono i tre gioielli concederci loro benedizioni, possono aiutarci a ottenere tutte le realizzazioni e consperci. Dimenticato, scusa. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness. Ok, grazie. Adesso cosa c'è nel programma? C'è qualcos'altro? Finito? Sog. Ok, adesso c'è il sog, ok. Okay, Jail Umzila. Who's going to guide the puja? Ok, c'è in pausa per 10 minuti, poi torneremo in 10 minuti e faremo il sog. Va bene? Così sentiremo meglio. Grazie.